The Tshwane Council preparing to elect a new mayor following the ousting of the DA Cilliers Brink through a motion of no confidence that was tabled by the ANC. ActionSA's Dr. Nasiphi, Moya and Brink have accepted their nominations for this position. SABC News reporter Patricia Visagie is watching those developments, and earlier she spoke to EFF Gauteng Provincial Chair Nkululeko Dunga on what he expects from the next mayor.
In Tshwane and in the provinces, one of the political parties that have thrown their weight behind the nomination of ActionSA's Dr. Nasiphi Moya as the next Tshwane mayor. Nkululeko Dunga, who is the EFF chairperson in Gauteng, joins me right now. Tell us more about the negotiations. Everybody's interested to find out how fierce were they, so that you ultimately, as political parties, found your center and made this agreement.
No, well, look, the fierceness would definitely not come from the economic freedom fighters, because one thing that we don't do is to obsess over political positions and positions in general. As long as the ideological perspective of the EFF is advanced, it matters not predominantly who is at the driving seat, and we say this with confidence because after having engaged with the ANC and to a certain extent ActionSA as well, there are certain primary deliverables that we had to agree with and principles that they would have to subject themselves to without the EFF having to have declared any interests or personal interest for positions, that is. So we are confident in that the discussions materialize from an ideological perspective, such as ensuring that at least there would be a office of the mayor that would be set up at the Royval water treatment plant in Hammanskraal, and the continuous check in that the water treatment plant is delivered to the people of Hammanskraal in time.
We've been crisscrossing Tshwane after Cilliers Brink was toppled, just to get to the ground, get the voices of the people. We've gone to the townships, we've gone to the informal settlements. We know that the EFF has had very strong views previously that the informal settlements in Tshwane need to be prioritized. What is your action plan under Nasiphi Moya, should she become mayor, to ensure that that particular vision is realized?
There are over 100 informal settlements that are identified by the Department of Human Settlement in the city of Tshwane. And one of the positions of the EFF is obviously having to engage in the formalization of all informal settlements so that at least there are service deliverables that are given towards those areas. The second aspect is that the reallocation and the allocation of land where we can really have service stands, and the look at moving away people who are informal settlements, because you would have noted that most of the people who actually occupy our land are occupying land in inhabitable areas where they are prone to disaster and they are too far from either the transport network or any other infrastructure, which leaves them extremely vulnerable. So those are discussions and engagements that would obviously have with the executive and hopefully as well forming part of that government, because one thing that we know and have been accustomed to at this level now is to understand that the ANC has shown a lack of capacity to govern on their own, and they will require extensive engagements and other political parties from different orientations to safeguard and protect the interest of everyone at the interest of everyone.
There are certainly a lot of positions still up for grabs. You've got the MMCs, you've got the position of the deputy mayor that might be open again. The speaker position is also under scrutiny to see what will happen there. As the EFF, what are the positions that you're gunning for, if there are any?
It's not a primary objective, as I said before, but definitely we have made our intentions very clear into forming part of government and being part of governance. And we do have a significant number of representation that gives expression to the formation of this stability or this configuration of a joint political management of some sort in the establishment of a new government in the city of Tshwane. So we'd obviously have those interests, but they are not a primary objective in terms of deliverables. We have made it clear in our intention very clear that we would want to form part of government, not only from a check and balances perspective, but also in our ability to actually run government as the economic freedom fighters.
This is not the first time that the EFF has a say in the matters of Tshwane. From 2016, when Solim Simanga was elected mayor, you helped the DA to vote with obviously that particular mayoral position, to elevate him to that position. There were a lot of financial discrepancies that arose from that particular tenure. The Glad Africa scandal, billions that were unaccounted for, and often there were fingers that pointed in the direction of the EFF. How are you going to ensure that history is not repeated, where monies disappear, while the EFF is part of the administration this time around?
We're never part of any administration with the Democratic Alliance.
But you voted with them.
We established government, and we established government outside of the ANC, and we make no apology for having established government outside of the ANC. And you would have recalled, ever since Msimang up until now, all the mayors that have been removed, the EFF was at the center of their removal, after having found those discrepancies that you speak of. You know, the Auditor General has found that, in actual fact, cumulatively, over the past 5 years, there's been an irregular expenditure of about 44 billion in the city of Tshwane. The EFF has raised consistently those issues. The issue of the former mayor, Randall, as well, who was trying to solicit some sort of bribe and a tender process scandal that had erupted with the voice recordings that we heard from his office. The EFF was once again at the center of it. But the EFF has always been obsessed with the establishment of government, whether with the EFF or not with the EFF. And the stability of it was always on the border of the fact that there must be service delivery orientation, particularly to the constituencies that are in dire need of that service delivery orientation. And once an organization then comes in and defies that particular perspective, then the EFF comes back in again and says that, but you're not doing what we thought that you would do, and would have to review our decision based on that.
All right, thank you so much. Of course, Nkululeko Dunga, who is the EFF chairperson in Gauteng. We now await to see how exactly does the voting pan out in the Tshwane Council. But one thing for sure, if the numbers are numbering and we do not see any unexpected change in terms of the plans that have been made, Dr. Nasiphi Moya is certainly going to be the next Tshwane mayor in the next hours. It's back to studio.
Patricia Visagie there reporting earlier around what is likely to take place, and in fact, incidentally, voting has now officially begun. Let's just beam some of those visuals to you live from inside the Tshwane Council, where the IEC has now set up their voting booths, their voting stations, and councillors, it seems, are making their way to make their mark, or in fact are on the other side of that. Let's listen in to what's taken place. All right, so it seems we're at a moment of suspension, all right, anticipated suspension in some ways, where the voting for this new mayor has officially been conducted, and we're anticipating some kind of vote counting process before an announcement is finally made. But as you heard from Patricia Visagie reporting earlier, this really feels more procedural than anything else. I mean, if the numbers balance out, Nasiphi Moya is going to get a clean sweep of support and will have enough numbers, or enough support, I should say, in order to get her through the line to be elected as the new mayor after Cilliers Brink was removed in a motion of no confidence about 2 weeks ago. And in fact, Nasiphi Moya has been acting as the mayor since then, because she, of course, you might remember, was the deputy mayor to Cilliers Brink from the previous coalition agreement, which has been in place and which clearly didn't last very long. I mean, it's just less than a year, and already there are these major moves that are taking place in the city of Tshwane. Cilliers Brink being removed, with his detractors citing a deterioration of the state of the city since he took over. And in fact, it seems that his political opponents are citing the DA's time in office over the past little while. You remember, of course, Randall Williams was there before that, and several others. And so in many ways, it seems that kind of reign from the DA has come to an end, with ActionSA, through the help of the ANC, now taking over. It remains to be seen how long that will be sustained, given, of course, the fact that all the metros in Gauteng are hung, including Tshwane, leading to the kind of instability that has characterized politics, at least over the past couple of years. We're anticipating that announcement at any moment now to get us a sense of whether or not it is a done deal. And Nasiphi Moya, I imagine, thereafter is likely to deliver her maiden speech. It might even be an impromptu briefing, which has typically taken place in the past when the mayoral chains exchange hand.